Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavabhai Tejasvina Vadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. We will chant the Shanti mantra a little bit later, so let me continue on with a couple of things from last night, and then we will begin the main study of the text in a few minutes. So, just to complete a couple of things that we had not quite finished yesterday. So if you recall, I had mentioned that an important thing for you to note is that the entire spectrum of the Vedic literature consists of a single message. And that single message is that for you to feel any kind of a problem is a mistake. This is a very important thing that we should really learn about. This is not something we accept right away. But things that we need to learn about don't have to be accepted right away. And things that we accept right away are not necessarily the truth. So what happens is that the natural phenomena when we are born is that due to an incomplete inventory of who we are, we make a fundamental mistake that my problems are my problems and they are due to a number of outside factors. There is the world responsible for it. I have some parts to play in that role. So it's all a mixed up bag where I blame myself, I blame the world, and life goes on. And it is all because of the fact that there is a fundamental mistake that we make, that we have not made a complete inventory of who we are. This is the issue. And so as a result of that, what is said is that please set a goal for yourself to understand, which is any kind of a problem that you have, any kind of a problem, there should be no ownership for it. You cannot say this is my problem. You cannot say I am the problem. You cannot say anything is the problem. There is no problem. This has to be understood. This is not an easy message to gain. This is the message of all Vedic literature singularly. This we must understand. So what I'm saying is that we may not understand that what the Vedas are saying. We may not understand that. That's okay. In the beginning we don't understand that. Everything starts with a non-understanding. That's okay. But we must understand what is the Veda saying. And what I'm saying is that what the Vedas are saying is what is this sampradaya is. This is a very unique sampradaya. Nothing available like this anywhere in the world, including India. In India also there is so much confusion that you have to do karma. It'll be in the next life. There is Vaikuntha. That there is, you can do yoga, you can do pranayama, you can do samadhi, or if you are devoted to the Lord, He will guide you to something. All kinds of funny things. The basic sampradaya is everything is a mistake. You are okay the way you are right now, and there is no reason for having any kind of a problem whatsoever. And this is the message that we must understand. We may not understand what it means, But at least we should understand this is the message, that all dukkha is due to ignorance. This is a very important thing. This is what I've been teaching in the Saturday and Tuesday classes also, that at the very least, if somebody says, "What are you studying? What is this? What is the basic thing that you are studying?" You should be able to understand that what I am studying, I don't understand it yet, but what I am studying is that any dukkha is due to my ignorance, my stupidity. And so it is not that slowly the stupidity will go, slowly things will improve, maybe nothing like that. It has to be done as though it is right now. This is the message. So this is what is called, what I'm telling you is what the scholars and the wise people, the Mahatmas are saying in a single voice. This is what is called Tatparya Nishchaya. What is the Tatparya of the entire literature? The whole literature, which I'll revise, I'll finish doing that. The entire one has this very single one, which is also what expressed in some very simple messages. Like in Adi Shankara's message, very simple. Brahma Satyam Jagan Mithya Jiva Brahma Eva Natu Aparaha. Brahma Satya means you are the Sat. And you are the Sat, which is not just the Sat, but also all the other things that go along with it. Ananda, Chit Swarupa. So we will see all of that. Even in this course we will see all that. And then anything else is just a play. There's no reality to it. You are the reality. This is the basic message. Anyway, so we will study that. So now going back to very quickly to see the review of the literature. So we saw Shruti, right? Vedas, which is like the natural phenomena, like gravitation. Then we saw Smriti, that's number 2. And I think in terms of the, we can sequence it anyway, like the Shruti, Smriti, then Brahma Sutra, and before the Bhashya I would put Puranas, the 18 Puranas. And what Puranas are stories that are more easily understood than the Shruti and the Smriti. That's what it is. But it is exactly the same thing. Especially the Bhagavata Purana, which is the most famous Purana and the most well read, is all Vedanta. It's all packaged in different stories and so on, but basically the essence of that is Vedanta. So then that Purana. Okay. And then another one is called Itihasa. So the Itihasa is primarily Ramayana and Mahabharata. And we won't go into the details of that, but those are also considered to be part of the basic Vedic literature. Of exactly what happened, Rama and Krishna and the stories and so on and so forth, they all point to the same Tatparya. Brahma Satyam Jagan Mithya Jivaha Brahma Eva Natu Aparaha. Aham Asmi Sada Bhami Kadachit Naham Apriyaha. This is exactly this. We are all the same reality. This has to be understood. So at least the goal should be understood. We may not get there in one step. We may have to take several steps, but at least the goal should be understood. So if somebody were to ask you, what are you studying? When you say Advaita Vedanta, they'll say, what does the Advaita Vedanta say? Please at least be able to say this, that any kind of a dukkha is a mistake. Okay, so now we have finished almost finished. So there are six layers of literature that are all talking of the same thing. So we have Shruti, Smriti, Brahmasutra, Purana, Itihasa, and the entire Bhashya literature. Bhashya literature. Entire, starting with Adi Shankara's Bhashya and all the various Mahatma, Tulsidas, and so many Ramana Maharshi, so many people. They are all saying exactly the same thing. Who are you? This has to be understood. Now, one other thing, the Shruti, as I said, is expressed, even though Shruti is not man-made because it is a natural phenomena, but the expression of the Shruti is man-made. You see, it's like saying that the gravitational forces are not man-made, but the expression of the discovery of the gravitational forces in terms of its description is man-made. See the distinction? Einstein did not discover gravitation, but he explained it. So therefore, the Shruti, the most famous person who explained is Veda Vyasa. And Veda Vyasa thought that the way to keep it alive is to segment it into 4 sections. So there are people who only do one Vedas, because the Veda is vast. It's very difficult to grasp by a single human being. Even one portion of that is very difficult. This is why you must have heard the various surnames. I used to have a classmate who passed away recently. His name was Narendra Dwivedi. So that means that his family, so normally you would be responsible for reciting and understanding one Veda. And so Rig Veda, then Samaveda, Yajur Veda, and Atharva Veda. These were the 4 segments that were done by Vyasa, so that at least one set of families specializes in reciting. See, this is one of the interesting things to see, that, and in fact this is recorded history, that we used to have so much literature that was all destroyed by the Mughals, and whatever was left was destroyed by the British. Not only the British, but all the Western forces. We had French people, we had so many other people that came in, Dutch. They all tried to invade India. And the first thing that but the British did the most damage. They just destroyed most of the literature. But they cannot destroy the oral literature, which people can remember. How are you, unless you kill everybody, you cannot destroy it. So really speaking, a lot of the written literature has been destroyed. But it is still, this is called Shruti. And this was the wisdom of Vedavyasa, that if you just remember it, you don't have to write it down. How are you going to describe it? How are you going to destroy it? So there were 4 different Vedas. So that's why we have Dvivedis, Trivedis, Chaturvedis. Very rare that you can remember all the 4 of them. So anyway, those were the 4 Vedas that were described by Vedavyasa. And Vyasa, who is considered to be, is really an avatara of Ishvara. So from that standpoint, every living being is an avatara of Ishvara. Avatara of Ishvara means what? It means the basis, the natural phenomena that gets expressed is called avatara. You and I, with all our faults, are an avatara. We are minor avataras. We have some capability. We can give rise to other children. We can educate other children. We can influence society up to a certain point. We are minor avatars. Then there are more major avatars. Scientists, Einstein. Avatars, major avatars, who really discovered some truth about the natural phenomena. Then there are spiritual avatars. And amongst those, the 2 most important ones are Krishna and Rama. And so these are all avatars. Then compared to that, Vedavyasa. And there's a whole lineage. We went through that, in fact, it all the way go up to, not up to it, up to even today. Swami Dayanand, for example, is an avatara. It's just amazing what he has done. He must have educated, I don't know, 10,000, 15,000, 50,000 to an understanding of what the self is. These are modern day Adi Shankara. Similarly, there were so many others, Vivekananda, so many others. These are all avatars. Out of this, perhaps the most important avatara is Vedavyasa. So anyway, this is kind of like a brief background. So then, the 4 Vedas, the one Veda that we are now studying today, Kaivalya Upaniṣad, is in the Atharva Veda. So this is part of the Atharva Veda, and Kaivalya Upaniṣad is part of that, and so is the Mandukya Upanishad, and so is the Manduka Upanishad, and few others. And the others Upanishads are all strewn in the different other Vedas, Samaveda, Krishna Yajurveda, Rig Veda. But we are studying the Kaivalya Upanishad from the Atharva Veda, which was described by Vedavyasa. So let's begin that. Each Veda has a Shanti mantra. The Shanti mantra means that because this study is subtle in nature, difficult in nature, unusual in nature, the mind has to be educated to get ready to receive this knowledge. And one of the aids to improve the mind's ability is what is called Shanti mantra. So the Shanti mantra is, it's kind of like a, like a, what shall I call it? it's a signal. It's a signal to the mind. Become quiet and be ready for understanding. So create shanti in your mind. An educated, this is true for even our worldly knowledge. You cannot understand worldly knowledge if your mind is agitated. Anytime you read a book, even when you're watching a movie, it is with a calm mind. And so the Shanti mantra creates a calm mind. And every Veda has its own. We will study the one for the Atharva Veda. Let's look into it now. So it's already given in the booklet, but I'm hoping that you all bring your books with you every time you come. And so we will look at the page numbers and study from there. I should have done this ahead of time. So here, I think Swami Viditatmananda has given a big introduction. I've kind of given some introduction, but we will do it again in more detail before the Shanti Mantra. So on the page 25 of this book, if you turn to page 25, is given the Shanti Mantra for the Atharva Veda, for the Mandukya Upanishad, for the Kaivalya Upanishad, sorry. It's the same one for Mandukya. So, we will chant it before each class. I think that would be done. Or perhaps maybe once a day. Once a day we will do that. So let's learn. I think you pretty much know, but let's learn how to chant. So let's do this. We will chant each line. This is nice. There are small lines. Sometimes there are big ones. But here they are small lines. So we will repeat each line twice just for learning purposes. And then we will chant the whole thing. If you want, you can, for a while you can just follow me. And then we'll do it together later. Okay. So we will do this twice. Om Bhadram Karnebhihi Shrunuyama Devaha. Om Bhadram Karnebhihi Shrunuyama Devaha. One again. Om Bhadram Karnebhihi Shrunuyama Devaha. Repeat now. Om Bhadram Karnebhihi Shrunuyama Devaha. So let me repeat it. I say once, you did, then you do it. Then let me say it alone, and then you do it again. Bhadram Pashyema Akshabhirya Jatraha. Bhadram Pashyema Akshabhirya Jatraha. Bhadram Pashyema Akshabhirya Jatraha. Bhadram Pashyema Akshabhirya Jatraha. So the next one is a little bit tricky. I'll repeat it a couple of times. So just listen to it. Sthirai, so sthirai rangai stuštuvagum sastanubhi. So if I break it down, sthiraihi angaihi tushtuva sastanubhi. So all together it becomes sthirai rangai tuštuvagum sastanubhi. Now I will say it, and after that you please repeat it. Sthirai rangai tuštuvagum sastanubhi. Sthirai rangai tuštuvagum sastanubhi. Then just me. Sthirai rangai tuštuvagum sastanubhi. Sthirai rangai tuštuvagum sastanubhi. Vyashema devahitan yadayuhu. Vyashema devahitan yadayuhu. Vyashema devahitan yadayuhu. vyashema devahitan yadayuhu swasti na indro vriddhashravaha swasti na indro vriddhashravaha swasti na indro vriddhashravaha swasti na indro vriddhashravaha swasti naf pusha vishvavedaha swasti naf pusha vishvavedaha swasti naf pusha vishvavedaha swasti naf pusha vishvavedaha swasti nastarksho arishtanemihi swasti nastarksho arishtanemihi swasti nastarksho arishtanemihi swasti nastarksho arishtanemihi swasti no brihaspatir dadhatu swasti no brihaspatir dadhatu swasti no brihaspatir dadhatu swasti no brihaspatir dadhatu om shanti 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 om shanti shanti shanti. Okay, so a meaning. So first one is Om Bhadram Karnebhihi Shrunuyama Devaha. So this is a prayer for the various devatas. The various devatas. This is what we were chanting this morning about Suryo, Chakshur, Brahmani, in Hridaya, all. So the various devatas that are responsible for my ability to function. So for example, the Surya Devata, the Sun Devata, is the presiding deity for vision. Because without the Surya Devata, our vision will not be able to function. Your eyes will be blind unless there is light. So the light is the Devata for vision. So similarly, there are different Devatas. There is a Devata for muscles, Devi for muscles. And this is what it says, when you, supposing you don't act, this is what's happening to me because of my various things. My muscles are atrophying. Not because I wanted to it, but because of some issues, it's not working. So that means I am not able to invoke the Devata for muscles. There is a certain Devi and Devata who are responsible for the muscle development. Same thing for heart development. Everything has a Devata. So this is a prayer to the Devata. The first one says, Bhadram Karnebhi Shrunuyama Devaha. Hey Devas, may I listen to good things. This is really all these things are very important. In fact, if I can just go back and tell you a story that I think either Swami Akhandananda gave, or I can't remember, it was Swami Maheshanandji or Swami Akhandananda. So the story goes that, there's always these Puranic stories that there is wars between the Devatas and Rakshasas, the good people. This happens every day. This is life. There is a struggle between the good and the bad. Even within our own selves, there are good, there are our own selves, there are bad, and there's always a struggle going on. And the whole idea is to support the good in you. I remember this, Swami Dayanand used to say that. He says, and this is true for parents that have adult children, certainly true for me, when the kids go to high school, when they are in uh, smaller schools like, grade schools and kindergarten and so on, there's not much good or bad. There might be somebody who's stronger and somebody's weaker and all that, but not much. High school is where the distinction between the good and the bad become much more palpable. And you find that there are kids who are into bad habits, and there are kids who are studying and are into good habits. And so, Swami Dayanand used to say that you should instruct your kids that, listen, now you're going to get into mixed company, and it all depends on which one do you choose. You can choose people who are drinking beer and just doing nothing, or you can be so it's all your choice. Same thing is there in our life also. We have thoughts that are not very conducive because we don't like other things and we cannot tolerate other things and so on. And then we have sides of us that are very friendly, and both occur. Because of your past karmas, both thoughts occur. Sometimes one in the morning, one in the afternoon, and so on. So it is not to be disturbed that both occur. What is disturbing is which side are you going to take? So if some thoughts come up that are not very conducive, you should have the ability. See, God has given us some wonderful tools. And one of the tools is, there's a distinction between manaha and buddhi. So manaha means, why don't we do this? Wouldn't it be fun? Let's go to this movie tonight. I've heard this new movie that has come up which is very popular, and I think we should go to it. This is the proposal of these, your own manaha. Your buddhi should say, should we really do this? Is that necessary? Are we really so devoid of ideas there is nothing better to do than to move this movie? And maybe the answer is, okay, let's go see the movie, that's okay. But at least the buddhi is the one that chooses which direction to go to. So Swami Dayanand used to say that similarly, like a kid going to high school, you're going to be associated with a number of thoughts. And then don't let it bother you. Don't because thoughts come from the past. A number of things have happened. It's like a dream. You have no control over what you're dreaming. But during the day, you do have control over what you can think. And if some thoughts come that are not very conducive, you just say, be quiet, shut up. I'm not going to do that. Pretty soon you will train your mind to do the right thing. This is what this is saying. He says, Bhadram karnebhihi shrunuyam deva. It means, hey Deva, I listen to all kinds of things. Like, for example, people who are into gossiping, they will say, have you heard that person? How bad that person is, what they did? And if you have certain, Swami Akhandananda says this very well. He says, all bad actions stem from your willingness to be bad. It's the same thing that we are saying. You already have some tendency to gossip. And so if somebody is gossiping, you say, yes, what are you saying? And the both of you join in and say, that person is how she dresses, so stupid. She doesn't have any sense. And you say, yeah, very bad, terrible. And you have a bad sense as though the dress is very important. In fact, what it should be, whatever people dress, whatever they, it doesn't matter. It is what the person is. This is the right thing. So this is the right message I want to hear. This is what is being said. Bhadram karnebhi shrunuyama devaha. Bhadram means something which is kalyanakaram, which is a blessing. And good things should be a blessing. So he says, hey Deva, can you make sure that I choose only good things to listen to? Bhadram karnebhi shrunuyama devaha. Similarly, we can now go fast. Bhadram pashyema akshabhir yajatraha. Yajatraha are also devas, different kind of devas. And say, may I only see good things. May I ignore things that are not necessary to see. You know, I can just tell you this. And we've all gone through that, and we may still do that. You turn the radio on. Supposing you are driving and you turn the radio on. What do you listen to? You know, there's the news about Israel and news about Ukraine and about all kinds of problems and so on. There's so much information. The question is, why are you listening to it? What can you do about it? What should you be listening to? So this is exactly what it is being said. Bhadram karne bihi shrunuyama devaha, bhadram pashyema akshabhirya jatraha. And then, sthirai angaihi tushtuvasaha tanubhihi. And he says, may my limbs, the various angaihi, anga means limbs, so the various angas, may you make them healthy, because I need them. I need the health, even though it's a dwelling, as we saw in our meditation, that it is a dwelling, but it is a dwelling that I must take care of because I live there. I live in it. And so let me not neglect it. Let me not overeat. Let me eat good things. So that's what it means. Thirayangaihi sushtivasanu. Then vyashema devahitam yadayuhu. May I lead my life with following the right things. By offering it to the devatas, may I follow the right advice. There is so much useless information in our life. And the basic distinction between what is useless and what is useful, and this is the point that I think I'm going to repeat many, many times. What you see is basically useless. What is seeing it is basically useful. The study of the seer is basically useful, and the study of what is seen is basically useless. It is partially useful because the dwelling that you are in needs to be kept up. But ultimately what you are seeing is already disappearing, and it will completely disappear. It will be no use to you. You'll leave it. But what you are, that cannot be left. You cannot leave yourself, ever. You can never leave yourself. The Atma is you. And you never even look into that yourself. You are so involved in seeing things that have no meaning to you. This is the message. Anyway, we will repeat that other times. But it says, when you say with firm limbs may we complete the full span of life, yad ayuhu. Yad ayuhu means whatever my allotted time is. I don't know how long I have, but whatever time that I have, may I be doing useful things, devoted to you, O gods, who are guiding me, and I am not looking at them, I am not following them. May I begin to follow it. Something like that. Vyashema devahitam yadayuhu. Then some specific devatas are prayed to. Indra. So Indra is the devata for strength. And all kinds of strength. Just to be able to walk. My mother-in-law, Pami's mother, is now, she just turned 96. And it's what it is difficult for her to climb even one step. One step. She needs help. This is what's going to happen to us. One step, how can that be possible? She came and lived with us while her brother was away on a visit. Pami's brother. So normally my mother-in-law stays with her son, but her son was away, so she stayed with us. So in our house, which is a stupid thing to do when I built it, between the one bedroom and the living room, family room, there are 2 steps. I don't know why we did that. It was just that those days it was the fashion to have, different steps and so on. Now even I am finding it difficult. I have 36 steps in my home, 34 steps in my home. From the garage to the main level is 17 steps, to the top level is 17 steps. And I'm beginning to feel I will have to move to another home. But anyway, going back to my mother-in-law, when she stayed with us, we were surprised to find she could not go up to 2 steps. She had to be carried. To go to the bathroom, 2 steps. Back, we'll wait for her to come back, 2 steps. This is how the loss of power is. We just take it for granted that I have the power. It's all imported. I don't possess it, and it can be taken away. So that's what it means. Indra is the devata for power. So he says, Swasti naha indro vriddha shravaha. This swasti is a very interesting word. You know what that word. It's the same thing as namaste. So when you say namaste, means namaha te, I bow to you. Similarly, swasti means suasti. Su means good. May there be good, swasti. So that may goodness be. Swasti naha indro vriddha shravaha. Naha means for us. For us may there be good, Hoy Indra, may you give us the power. Similarly, swasti naf pusha vishvavedaha, etc. I don't even know the names of the specifics of the various devatas. I've read it, but it doesn't stay in my mind, so I'm not going to go. Brihaspati. Brihaspati is the teacher of all the devatas. So anyway, all of that. And then Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. So, and the 3 Shantis are, as you know, the Trivida Shanti is Adhyatmika, Adi Daivika, and Adi Bhutika. So all the uh, all the world around me is Adi Bhutika. And then Adi Daivika is the earthquakes, all the natural phenomena that can affect me. And Adhyatmika is my own health, my own mind, something that I possess. Or may all of them be quiet and give me the space to think and to evolve and not bother me. So that is the name of the three Shantis. So each Shanti is meant for the three basic segments of our life, and may they all be quiet and non-disturbing to me. So that's the message. So anyway, so that's the very quick Shanti mantra, and we will we'll chant it before the morning class each day, so you get at least some accustomed to it. Okay, so now let's go into the main text. So before going to the main, so one thing you might do, I won't have time to go through the detail, I'll do a little bit of it, is to go to the introduction before even the main text starts. So the introduction starts at page 1 and goes up to page 24. It's very comprehensive, and I've read it a couple of times recently. Of course, I co-wrote it with Swamiji in 2005, but if you want, one thing we could do, I mean, I'm going to give you some of my own thoughts, but let's look at the main headlines of the passages. So let's go to page 3. So it says, how Vedas help us gain fulfillment. So there will be some ideas, so that will be interesting for you to see. Then go to the next one. Well, ashrama, stages of life, page 8. Okay, then the meaning of the word Upaniṣad on page 11. So that will be good for you to do, and I might do some of it. Number 12, self-knowledge is unique. What is so unique about it? Introduction to that. Then, what we have been talking about on page 16, bondage is not real, is to be understood. Bondage means any kind of dukkha, something that happens to you that you don't want to happen. So this is exactly what we've been saying. There are different words used, that it's false. There's a falseness to it. That falseness has to be understood. So that is what is talked about here on page 16. This is a very important and very interesting thing on page 21, the next segment. I am the problem, I am the solution. In fact, there is a book that was written by Swami Dayanandji, which is available, which basically, and we'll explain what that means, but an important, very important segment. What it really very briefly means is, we have a tendency to blame something for my problems. If had that been happening, if this was done, that person, this situation, whatever it is. And I would say even including my own status is used as a excuse for my problems. And none of that is really true. What we need to understand is that the sense of bondage, sense of limitation, which is centered on me, this is what is being said, I am the problem, I am the solution, which is centered on me, needs to be inquired into. Where is it? Swami Akhandananda, in his description of the, I think it is I've been reading Swami Akhandananda's commentary on Brahma Sutra. It's a 3-volume set on Brahma Sutra. And there he has explained it very well. This sense of bondage, so this is what is called in the Shastra Mimamsa. Mimamsa. Mimamsa is a word which means a detailed analysis of a problem. Detailed analysis, thorough analysis. It is like a scientific, if you can use that word, a scientific approach to where is it? So when you say, who has this sense of bondage? Where is it? Is it in the Atma? Is it in you? Is it in the world? Is it in the mind? Where is it? And Swami Akhandananda has done a great job of, he says, like when you inquire about something, you have to find out exactly what that thing is. What is the shape of it? What is the weight of it? What is the color of it? What is the future of it? What is the history? Well, does it depend on anything else, or is it independent? So you have to examine it from all possible perspectives in order to ascertain its true nature. This is called Mimamsa. Mimamsa needs to be done about the self, about my problems, about my dukkha. We just accept it. Oh, I'm very unhappy. Oh, why are you unhappy? Sometimes our unhappiness is very specific. Very specific, because you'll say, I'm unhappy because my daughter is sick. She is really, she has a problem, and that's making me very unhappy. Okay, fine, I understand that. But there is a very interesting word in English, which is really, which is called mood. So, mood is a very interesting word because it is non-specific. And this happens to us. You are in a bad mood. Why are you in a bad mood? You cannot answer. You cannot say it because my daughter is sick. It's not that. It's not that. That is a different thing altogether. But mood means there is something which you are not happy about. That's all. And so, in Swami Akhandananda's description of all this, in that sense, your sense of bondage is like a mood. But mood, even though you cannot define it, you cannot explain it, you cannot wish it away, needs to be examined. Why does mood happen? Why do you have a sense that everything is not well with me? Why? Everything seems to be well. Interestingly enough, when I was telling you this about my own history, that I had a sense in my life when I was in my early 20s and middle 20s and so on, until I really understood this whole thing, I just had an uneasy feeling about life. Nothing was really satisfying me, honestly. And I would go around, I will go to movies and I'll go to this, that or the other, but the deep sense of satisfaction was not there. And so I didn't know what, but it was very frustrating, quite frankly, and I'm very lucky that I didn't do anything stupid like take my own life. I was never so unhappy as to be able to take my own life. But I must say I was very frustrated because the sense of who is this mind? What do I need to do in order to be happy was always there. And my friends would all say, why are you getting into all these? Just enjoy life. I'm okay, you're doing well, everything is okay. But somehow deep inside me, I just didn't know what was happening. And until I was introduced to, then things became clear. And it's not as though my sense of bondage is completely gone, but I can place it at the right place. I can say, oh, this is where it is. It has nothing to do with me, and I'm still trying to make sure that it doesn't even touch me, but it doesn't matter if it touches me or not. That's the important thing. Because I can see that I'm different from what my mind and my experiences are. So that took a while, but at that time, experiences were me and were bothersome to me. But at least, this is what I'm saying, I was very, and I remember this, I think may not remember it, but from reading a lot of things and so on, this uneasy sense of bondage that needs to be inquired into is a very blessed thing. Very blessed thing. Swami Dayanand used to make this distinction all the time. He says, if I look around, there will be a room full of people who are students. And he would say, if I look around and see why are you here, okay, he says, it's like a bell-shaped curve. People who are very unhappy will never come to this class. Never come to this class. Because their sense of unhappiness is so strong that just to understand who am I and so on, that's so far away from their method. On the other hand, people who are extremely happy will never come to this place. Never come to this place. You ask your friends who are doing well. I do. I mean, I don't ask them, but there's a couple of friends, I won't name them, one very rich guy, one of the wealthy billionaire friend of mine. And he sometimes says to me, I really like to know, who am I? Who am I? Because it bothers me. I don't know who am I. And I have told him many, many times, I says, do you really want to know? I can help. Oh, I would love to do that. I would love to do that. Let's get together. I've known him for 15 years. He is only slightly younger than me. He's in his 80s. You know why? I'll tell you why now. He's got such a comfortable life. He's so rich. His health is good. His children are doing well. He's got so much money that this question of who am I is far away from. It's just kind of like a hobby. Among many other things that I do, AI, artificial intelligence, this, that or the other, Who am I is another one small thing that we can do. It can wait. Right now I'm very happy. We have dinner together at least once a month. And I keep hoping one of these days that he would say, can we get together and then discuss this? No. So Swamiji used to say, people who are very happy will not be here. People who are very unhappy will not be here. It's that middle kind of people that might come. And I was very lucky really that I was one of those that had an uneasy feeling that something is not right. And that started me on this. Anyway, it's 10 o'clock. We'll continue with this introduction. And I think this is how it will be. I just want to give you a lot of my own ideas and so on and so forth. And the book will be there. I will point out what you need to do. But I'm not going to follow, this so on and so forth. Let's see how it goes. Om asato ma satgamaya tamaso ma jyotirgamaya mrityorma amritam gamaya Om purnamadav purnamidam purnat purnamudachyate purnasya purnamadaya purnameva vashishyate Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om. So I'll see you at 11 o'clock.